Mirrors. What are the odds that this story was requested twice? Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a good old-fashioned ghost story, so here you go. Nora never believed in the supernatural. As a science teacher, she relied on logic, evidence, and reason. So when she inherited her grandmother's old Victorian mansion in Vermont, she didn't think twice before moving in. It was a bit dusty, sure, and smelled of age and mothballs, but it had charm, space, and best of all, it was free. But almost immediately, strange things began happening. It started subtly. The bathroom mirror would fog up only on one side. Her reflection would feel off. One night, brushing her teeth, she noticed that her reflection didn't blink at the same time she did. It was just a fraction of a second delayed, but enough to chill her to the bone. She stared, testing it. Blink, blink. The mirror blinked late. She backed away slowly. Over the next few days it got worse. When she'd pass by mirrors, she'd feel an unnatural coldness, like stepping into a freezer. The reflections would seem too sharp, too vivid, as if they were a window to somewhere else. Once she walked by a hallway mirror and saw herself standing still even though she was moving. Nora covered the mirrors with blanket, but the next morning they were all neatly folded on the floor. She started recording herself as she slept. One night the footage showed her rising at 3:33 a.m., walking to the mirror in the hallway and whispering something into it. But Nora had no memory of it. When she enhanced the audio, her voice was whispering, "Let me out, let me out, let me out." She couldn't take it anymore. She researched the house and found that her grandmother, Margaret Ellison, was once part of a spiritualist group in the 1920s that believed mirrors could trap souls. They used them to seal away things that didn't belong in the living world. Nora began to wonder, had her grandmother trapped something or someone in the mirrors? One night she woke up to the sound of glass tapping. It came from the living room. She crept down with a flashlight. The large wall mirror was vibrating. On the surface, handprints began forming, then a face. Her face, but it wasn't mimicking her. It was staring straight at her, grinning maniacally. Blood began to trickle from its eyes. She ran, locked herself in her bedroom. In the reflection of her phone screen, she saw the mirror Nora standing right behind her. In a frenzy, she grabbed a hammer and smashed every mirror in the house. Each shattering felt like freeing herself from something dark. But the last mirror, the tall one in the attic, didn't shatter. Instead, a crack split across it and the reflection stepped out. They fought. Nora screamed, tried to run, but the reflection was stronger. It pinned her down, smiled and whispered, "Your turn." Now she's trapped behind the glass, screaming silently, watching, while the other Nora lives in the real world, smiling too much, blinking just a little too late. And if you ever visit the house, don't look in the mirrors. If you do and you see yourself smile when you're not smiling, it's already too late. Welcome to my channel. Here's your first horror story. Old house. Emily had just moved into an old farmhouse on the edge of a quiet town. She was newly divorced, emotionally drained and looking for a fresh start. The house was rustic but beautiful, surrounded by tall grass and silence. So much silence. The kind that made your ears ring. She unpacked in the only bedroom on the main floor, a large room with a sloped ceiling and an enormous closet. The bed fit perfectly against the far wall. She smiled. Finally, some good news. That evening she lit candles, poured wine and watched TV, enjoying the solitude. She didn't hear the floorboards creak. She didn't feel the house settle. She didn't listen for anything, because outside crickets chirped and the wind whispered through the grass, making sounds far more pleasant than the city noise she was used to. The first night was uneventful. No banging, no crashing, no footsteps. She slept deeply. Until 2:45 a.m. That's when she heard it, a creaking sound beneath her bedroom floor. Not just the natural settling of the house, but slow, deliberate footsteps. Light steps pacing. It felt like something was underneath her. She told herself it was nothing. Old houses make noise, right? But the next night, the sound returned. The same time, 2:45 a.m. Same slow, heavy footsteps beneath her floorboards. She checked the crawl space the next day. Dusty and dark and empty, filled with cobwebs and junk. Nothing else. No signs of animals. No footprints. Nothing to explain the sound. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. A few days later, something new happened. Her bed was slightly off-center when she woke up, just a few inches closer to the closet. She brushed it off as her imagination. Old houses settle, right? But that night, the footsteps came back, pacing around her bed, getting closer. And in the morning, she found her bed had moved again, 5 inches closer to the closet. She called her elderly neighbor, Mr. Collins. "You live in that old house now, don't you?" he asked when she mentioned the noises beneath the floor. His expression darkened. That house, he said quietly, was never supposed to be lived in again. Emily frowned. Why not? He shook his head. "They buried something down there a long time ago," he muttered. "Not a body, a mistake." Before she could ask more, he walked away without another word. That night, Emily set up her phone to record audio. She placed it under the floor through a small opening in the vent. The next morning, she listened back and her blood went cold. At exactly 2:46 a.m., there was a voice, faint, raspy, male, but broken. "Closer, Almost there. Then came the dragging like fingernails across dirt. Something moving, slowly, with purpose. Emily panicked. She called a contractor to inspect under the floor. "Are you sure about this, hun? It looks pretty dangerous down there," the contractor said over the phone. Together they pried open the boards. But as he descended into the darkness, he grabbed Emily's arm. "Whatever you do, don't go down there yourself," he said grimly. "You won't believe what I just saw." With trembling hands, he pulled back part of the boards and revealed a horrifying sight. A wooden hatch was nailed shut with rusted iron spikes. "What in the world?" Emily whispered. It wasn't on the blueprint, and she had already explored the crawl space. How could it have been hidden? But the mystery didn't stop her. Despite her shaking hands, she demanded he open it. Reluctantly he did. It creaked ominously, revealing a narrow stone staircase spiraling down into darkness. The air that rose from the hole was thick and foul, like something had rotted for decades. Emily went down alone, flashlight in hand. At the bottom was a stone chamber. On the walls, strange symbols were carved into the rock, crude and ancient. In the center of the room was an old, rotting mattress. Beside it, a shattered mirror, and something was etched into the floor. "Don't let her die." She ran. That night she locked the hatch, nailed the boards shut and tried to sleep. But sleep didn't come. Not when at 2:45 a.m. she heard footsteps above her, in the attic. Then, the floorboards began to creak inside the room. Not under her, not above, but right behind her bed. She turned slowly and the boards began to rise. Something was pushing up, clawing at the wood. A hand, pale and thin, burst through the cracks. Then another, long, broken fingers pulling at the air. And then she saw it, a creature. Human-shaped, but wrong. Its limbs bent the wrong way. Its mouth stretched too far and its eyes were sewn shut. It hissed as it crawled out of the floor. "I found you," it rasped, and she blacked out. She woke up in daylight lying on her bed. Everything looked normal. The hatch was gone. The boards were sealed. No one believed her story. But now, every night at 2:45 a.m., she hears footsteps. Not below her, inside her room, moving closer. Always closer. And the worst part, every morning her bed is closer to the closet. Last night it touched the door, and tonight there's no more space left.